Hey everyone, Lauren here, and I decided to use more of these jelly printing papers that I've made, and this time I'm going to use them to make a Project Life spread. So originally I had these photos spread over two 12 by 12 Project Life pages, but there just really wasn't enough. It would have been too much filler pages, and my albums are quite big enough, so I need to consider not doing that all the time and putting things together that can go together. So I'm just going to have a look around. You can see these are my jelly printed pages. Nice little sneak peek at them. I'm just having a look at what could work with the colours that are going on. So cricket is happening this weekend in this Project Life spread, and then I've got some photos of my children cuddling while they were watching TV, which was a nice little moment. Unfortunately, not a great photo just because of the angle, and I was trying to sneak it while they weren't looking. But it is a nice little moment to catch and to remember and say, well, hey, you do love your brother, even though as you get older, you might feel like as a teenager that's a thing not to be doing. But anyway, such is life, isn't it? Anyway, so I'm just cutting down some pages, having a think about what to do. I do pull out one of those photos of the children watching TV together and keep the one where they're actually fully cuddling, even though the other one had better lighting. But I wanted to keep one of those 4x6s so I could use it as a full filler card and display these jelly print papers because they are beautiful. So I've cut down a 3x4 there. You can see it's just like a blue brick pattern where I've used the stencil to get that print. And then I've cut that one down the bottom, which is that orange and yellow, which surprisingly go really well. It's mango and ruby pink, I believe, if my memory serves me right. If you want to know, check out the unboxing. Otherwise, leave me a comment and I will let you know. And then I'm just going to cut down this green one. So I do cut down a couple of colours a couple of patterns of the jelly prints and do change my mind here and there. And then in fact, I do cut down these two photos because there doesn't need to be so much of the background in these photos happening. It's nice to just pinpoint and cut them down so I can pinpoint the point where my son is bowling and my son is batting in those photos. Up the top, I've just used the Project Life app, or PicMonkey would have been one of those, to make the collage of the photos, which is really nice because when we were playing cricket, he was just playing, I can't remember what it was called. But anyway, each week they played a match, but every person got to bowl and got to bat every time. So it was sort of like an introduction to it. Even though my son was older, he just snipped in, which was lucky. If he'd asked the next year after, he would have been too old to do this kind of program and would have had to do legit full cricket. But this way he had the introduction to test everything out and find out what were his skills. So I decided here to cut this one down. You can see I'm just using an old Project Life card as my border, my edges to cut it. And this one I decided to keep a bit of the white outside of the print, which was really nice to add that to break up the colour. Otherwise it just would have been a lot of solid colour. So here's where I decide to cut them down. This way you can still see the photo and what's happening. It means that I can see more of the jelly print, and then I can add a bit of cluster or a label and some journaling and all those kind of things. So it's something to consider when you're doing Project Life. They don't all need to be full photos or full embellishment cards. It's nice to mix it up and have some collage photos or some full photos and some smaller cut down photos. So have a little play and consider what's happening and break it all up. So I'm going to use these stickers here to spell out cricket, and I thought I was just going to leave cricket and have it on this right hand photo and not have anything on that first collage photo, but instead I swapped them over. I spelled cricket on this one, even though I put it back in. You watch. Then I changed my mind. And then I put cricket on this one. And then I wanted to spell cricket. Did I want to spell something, and then it wasn't going to work. So then I go with the word fun. No, win. Oh, that might have been what no, because there's an F there, I can see. Anyway, whatever I was going to spell, I couldn't, and then I changed my mind. So again, scrapbooking is all about being flexible and using what you have rather than trying to find the perfect thing, because sometimes we can get stuck in those modes, and if we don't find that perfect thing, and then our mojo gets killed, and it's just nice to just have a play. So that N in the word win is a letter U that I've just turned upside down, but shh, nobody knows. So just going to have a play here with what's going on. Instead, I'm going to move that photo to the yellow and the orange, the mango and white card. And I thought this black one here it was too harsh. The black was sticking out, and just like when you looked at the whole 12 by 12, that's what drew your eye in, and it just landed right there on that harshness. So instead, I find a different print, and I'm going to pull that one in and bring in a bit more of that, some softness rather than that. So you can see the range of jelly prints are all so vastly different because of, and I didn't like it. So again, I'm going to swap. But they're also different, even though I used the same 5 colours and just had a play. You can see that things just turn differently. Even if you use the same 1 or 2 colours, things can be so different depending on what kind of way that you mix the colours or texture or stencils or anything that you use. So instead, I decided to just use a white card, and I'm just going to add some journaling, and that way I don't need to worry about what's underneath it with the jelly print and all that. So first I border it up just so that I could stay in lines and have that done first, because if I did my journaling and then bordered, I might not have been able to have the space for it, which is often something I don't consider when I'm journaling. And just going to have a little play with writing down what I need to write. And then we're going to come back with the power of magic editing again, and all that's going to be written down. And I'll be able to put that into the sleeve. I don't leave any space for any embellishing or colour or anything else. It's just going to stand as itself, as a blank card with some embellishing. With some journaling, because that's all it needed to happen. Do you find that some of your sleeves, your page protectors are not, like, you have to cut them down to put them in? That's so frustrating, especially once you've already made. Luckily, there was a bit of space I could cut, and I wasn't cutting into my journaling. But sometimes, it's just, really, sometimes I probably should just put them in first to see if they're the right size before I start embellishing and adding the photo or the journaling. But that's a lot of effort for me. That'd be just too organised. Now, you can see here, this has got a love heart in the middle. I used a mask to make this one, and I'm just going to cut it down, and I'm going to use it as part of that filler on that brick. I used a hexagon stencil to make this one. Now, if you want to check out how I made a lot of these jelly print pages, I have got some exclusive videos over on the Facebook subscribers page. So if you are a subscriber, you are lucky that you get a lot of videos from us each month on the Kidaholics channel, but also you get to see our exclusive videos and projects on the Facebook group, and a lot of conversation and events and things like that happens. So it's good to definitely subscribe, because not only do you get all these awesome goodies, but second, you also get to have all those extra bonuses of design team work and the community, but also this free exclusive cut files and printables that we get. So you can see here, I've just put that on. I use my tiny attachable stapler to staple them on. I added 2 because it's a nice repeating factor, and I'm just sticky taping it down because it wasn't attached enough just with the stapler. And I use my black pen to add a doodly border so that it can pop off that background as well. So in my cleanup of my scrap area, I reinvented not reinvented, oh my gosh, what the hell? I refound my roller stamps, and I have put a couple on my desk to hopefully use, and voila, I am using them. So I'm going to use a few different phrases and put them over a few different spots of the heart, and just give it that repeated look, but also make it, it's sort of like it's its own little art journal little card. It's really cool just way to do it, and that's something you could do on the jelly print. So you could print the jelly print, stamp over them, and then use them as layering or cards, and things like that would be really cool as well. So definitely think about the fact of when you're creating that layering is quite a fun tool to use to add dimension, but also depth and texture and interest to your pieces that you're crafting with. So just rolling through and just seeing what kind of phrases there are and what I want to use. I will use my roller date stamp, it's not a roller date, a roller phrase stamp in another spot as well, just to bring in that, tie that in. And I'm just using a little wood veneer piece, a couple of them, some little stars and some little like asterisks kind of pieces that I've got, again, just on my desk. So I'm just using the mixed media kit from Kitaholics Kits this month, and this is just what we've got to show you how it can be used. You don't need to have all the goodies, but obviously we all like to have all the goodies for sure. But if you just want to build your mixed media stash and buy the mixed media kit, then this is definitely something you can do to get use out of it. So just adding some enamel dots too, just to build those clusters out, and that is done. Thinking that I'm going to need to cut it down, I cut it down first, and then I'm going to slide it in. Being mindful that my wood veneer is not fully glued down. It's glued down fully, but it's not fully dry is the word. So I do need to be a little bit careful. I did consider doing that vertically, but I don't know if I could ever vertically put a photo vertically. Words I'm getting used to. It's not my favorite thing, but photos it looks like I just really couldn't do. So this piece here I jelly printed on some vellum. So I put a layer first, and then I put a mask on the jelly print of that girl, and then layered again with some of the pink and white, and made a second layer on that vellum, which is really cute. And I didn't know how I was going to use it when I made it, but I thought I would find a way, and bam, here is the way. So I'm going to use it as my filler card. You know, there's no girls on it, there's nothing, you know, really tied to it other than the fact that it's a person. We're just going to go with that as the connection. And there's this little bit of extra vellum that has been left over, and I just ripped it down so that it had a nice textured edge, and I'm going to use that as some layering pieces. Staple it on, cut off the edge so that it fits in the Project Life card, and that's it. I'm not going to add anything else to that little card, just the photo and that layering on top of that jelly print is perfect enough. So tapping fingers, thinking about what I want to do. Not too much more to do, which is really nice. This Project Life card spread came together quite quick because I'd already done the jelly printing. It's sort of just like using pattern paper or cards. That part should come together really quick, and then if you use those repeating factors, it's really quite fun and easy to do. So I just used another ripped piece, and I am going to put it vertically underneath it this time to add some interest. And what am I looking for? Oh, paper. So I'm just going to border my photo with some white cardstock. Just it mustn't have been sticking out enough on top of all those colours of the jelly print. So sometimes you just need to go with a bit of extra white to border it. Sometimes black is a nice way to border your photos or the embellishment or what the title. It just depends on what's happening. Obviously, at this, I don't have any black other than my writing, so that would not be what is needed. And the photo is bright green, but also with a bit of a darkness to it. It's not a bright light kind of photo, so I'm sure black would not have been the way to go. So you can see here, there we go, just thinking about where to put it so that it was sat nicely, but also so it didn't take away from all that was going on in the background. Now I'm just going to write bowling on one of them and batting on the other one, just to, or whatever it was related to it, just to make sure that it's easier to identify Patrick from the quick. Once you see him, you can identify him. But if it says batting and then you're looking at a photo of some people at one end of the wickets and the other person at the end, and then someone batting at the wickets, it's quite easy to say, okay, well, he's batting, so he must be this one, and then look closer to identify him. There we go. Nice and simple. And then I'm just going to finish that filler card down the bottom after I fight with getting them in. Because I just printed on, jelly printed on A4 paper. They aren't sturdy like cardstock, so obviously do need to be a bit careful. Now this one was going to fall out of my sleeve. I cut it down a little bit too small, and so I do decide to back it with some white cardstock. I really didn't want to, because you can see the back there looks so pretty as a print, and it would have been nice to use the back on the other layout, but it just wasn't going to be the way at all. So instead I do back it with the white cardstock, and I'm going to add a little white border, and that way it fits so carefully in. Sorry if you can hear my children in the background. Even though they're at the other end of the house, you can still hear them. So there we go. Border it. And then it's going to slip in there nice and easy without it falling out. Although I did have to cut it down